You are exactly where I am, because you complete me and because you say it there and it comes out here and vice versa. You said I wanted witnesses too. The outcome would have been exactly the same, though. We can hold two thoughts right at the same time.
We can.
Yeah, you want it. I mean, I understand the reasoning, but it's just, don't you think it is what I've been saying, that it's just all this pent up from him getting away with everything, that you
Yes.
it's just, I think just for public record, for historical record, you know, yeah. But go ahead. What were your thoughts on
Well,
that?
I thought the trial was an incredible success. I was never part of that Beltway crowd that 3 weeks ago said, "Oh my gosh, they're going to convict Trump. McConnell's going to vote yes. The dam is going to break," as CBS News put it. There was no way that Republican dam was ever going to break.
Yeah.
The fact that they got 7 votes is to me astonishing. It's the most votes ever for any impeachment in U.S. history.
Yeah, it is. I know. Michelle Goldberg said 57-43 may not be enough for conviction. It's definitely not an exoneration. It's 57 for conviction, 43 again. I mean, just you're right, because it's a ridiculous political exercise, not a court. That it's frustrating.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and everyone knew what the final result was going to be, and a lot of the press early on was saying, before this presentation started. Once the presentation started, I think the press was essentially riveted, as was everyone else. But early on, this is going to waste Biden's time. Everyone knows the outcome. This was not a TV event. This was not meant to create great ratings. This was not meant to convict Trump. It was to put it all on the record. And they did that. And again, the fact that they got 7 votes, I know, from, if you want to get into the micro, from Tuesday to Saturday morning, nobody thought there was going to be witnesses. For 45 minutes, people thought there was going to be witnesses, and then there weren't witnesses.
Yeah.
So I understand why people got excited. I got excited. I thought it was going to be great. And specifically, I didn't think they need witnesses Wednesday, Thursday to describe what happened. They had that. They had the video. Everyone in that building was there. Well, what witnesses would have been helpful for was what was Trump doing while Pence was being chased by that mob. But again, it would have been the exact same outcome. You could argue that if this did drag on, they wouldn't have even gotten those 7 votes. And just again, in terms of context, Bill Clinton, they got 45 votes. 5 Republicans voted no for Bill Clinton impeachment. 7 voted yes. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Let's listen to, and because I really am loath to criticize Jamie Raskin, who did an amazing job. Here he is talking about, and I give this Republican Congresswoman, who of course has already gotten threats from lunatic Marjorie Taylor Greene on Twitter, but and her saying about, is there any other patriots, step forward, now is the time. So, I think this made Pence and McCarthy and everybody look much more cowardly, that she stepped forward, this Congresswoman, and, confirmed this conversation with Kevin McCarthy and Trump during the riot, right?
Yep.
So Jamie Raskin.
Sure.
No, she issued her statement the day before.
Right.
And we brought up the resolution right at the time that the resolutions for witnesses were called for according to the Senate resolution. There's no other time we could have done it. That was the moment to do it. We won that vote. We were going to proceed to do it. And then the Republicans stipulated to allow the evidence to come into the record. Now, you ask about some other people who might have gotten up there and lied. We don't know what Kevin McCarthy would have said.
That was, of course, Chuck Todd helpfully trying to, drag him into the Democrats in disarray.
Right.
And Democrats caved storyline rather than Republicans are complete spineless, complicit cowards, right?
Right. It was amazing over the weekend to think that we've endured at least 4 years of Dems in disarray stories. I mean, the impeachment trial, if it's not a civil war within the Republican Party, it's pretty close. I mean, it's a lopsided one. I think it's 80-20. But that ridiculous McConnell speech you just played, it's the height of hypocrisy and cowardice. But it does show that party is just completely leaderless. And again, for context, I keep thinking back to the Clinton impeachment. Can you imagine if a Democrat had voted to acquit Bill Clinton and then gave that McConnell speech, blaming? I mean, that senator would have been branded a coward and run out of town. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
McConnell is kind of getting in some quarters getting high marks for being so, savvy and strategic, and he kind of, he's going to be a real problem for Democrats. That was, I mean, it's the cowardice Hall of Fame, as you said.
Yeah.
He stopped the trial, and now he says he can't convict because the trial wasn't in January.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it best. You said the press has dedicated an extraordinary amount of time and resources over the years to advance the idea that Republican leaders can't sleep at night because they're so troubled by Trump's actions.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. When you come from that premise,
Yes.
you're like, please, Mitch McConnell doesn't do anything except for political calculation and power.
Always.
Yeah, let's listen to Jamie Raskin again. Just I wanted to finish on this witness thing.
That was her record of what he was telling people. What he told people was that he had called Trump to say, you got to get us out of this. Hell, these people are here. Trump said, it's Antifa. McCarthy said, no, it's not Antifa, Mr. President. It's your people. You got to get us out of here. To which Trump said something like, well, maybe they just care more about the election than you do, i.e., Trump knew exactly what they were doing. He knew that mob which he had deployed was there, occupying people's offices and threatening Congress.
And in that sense, Eric, that was the fight. They got her statement on the record. So, would it have been better for TV to see her say it? Yeah. But, they basically, the fact that he sent the tweet attacking Pence after the phone call with Tuberville, after this call with Kevin McCarthy, I guess is all you needed to know. And it still wouldn't have moved any votes, I guess, because they're cowards.
Well, I think that's how they picked up those extra 2 Republican votes is all because of this Pence stuff, all because of her statement, all because of those ridiculous lawyer arguments. Look, if this had been a secret ballot, they would have had 80 votes. Nobody disagrees with that. Nobody disagrees.
Is it me or did people laugh in that lawyer's face? Didn't he say that? I'm sure he cared very much about Mike Pence and all of you here at the Capitol. People are like, wow, wow, are you full of right?
Yeah, I mean, this is, if we think back a year ago for Trump's impeachment trial, they had the White House counsel. They had, I think, a former Solicitor General. I mean, they did drag out Ken Starr, who's got a big name. These lawyers, as everyone knew, was going to be a complete, personal defense attorney, or personal injury attorneys, and everyone knew it was going to be fast, and it was. Yeah. And I think those Republican votes were, I think their intelligence was insulted for too long. And again, I guarantee it was specifically because of the Pence stuff. Trump would not, send a stand down order. And again, I keep going back to this double standard. If a Democrat were being impeached, and we knew there was a Democratic congressman completely contradicting what the president said, I mean, that would be a blockbuster. That would be indescribable.
The only other thing, again, in our Monday morning quarterbacking without law degrees, was, I almost wonder if they should have used Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger as 2 of the House impeachment managers.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they would have done it, but I just. But let's.
Could have had, and the impeachment managers were so good. And look, they kind of. This is so bizarre. They had a test run for the Ukraine impeachment. Yeah. They learned their lesson. This is an easier story to tell. It wasn't as bogged down. It wasn't as philosophical or esoterical. It was about a mob that had been in that room 4 weeks ago. But they did an incredible job.
They did.
And I think we're just going to see the polling numbers just go up. Even before, the trial was like 56% wanted him impeached. It was a victory for Democrats up and down the board.
Oh, speaking of polls, Eric, do you think this will bother Mango Mussolini at all? Poll finds Obama named best U.S. president, Trump named the worst. You don't think that'll I don't know if it'll bother him, but let's just finish with Jamie Raskin and the witnesses real quick.
It was there for everybody to see.
Right.
So we could have had 1,000 witnesses, but that could not have overcome the kinds of silly arguments that people like McConnell and Capito were hanging their hats on.
Yeah, exactly. And one last one, Jamie Raskin.
Well, I think it was a dramatic success in historical terms. It was the largest impeachment conviction vote in U.S. history. It was by far the most bipartisan majority that's ever assembled in the Senate to convict a president, which has traditionally been a kind of partisan thing in American history.
Yeah, and his personal pain with losing his son. I mean, he is an American hero, and he will go down in history as an American hero. But it just it's just such a frustrating exercise every time, right?
Yeah.
Now we're almost like, okay, the DOJ better, because I get about state and local are going to go after, but the federal government has to take a stand against this, don't you think? I mean, this is the result of years of Republican cowardice, up to and including Saturday, right?
Yeah, and if the DOJ doesn't, I know there's talk about a 9/11 type commission.
Yeah.
We need to find out what did Trump know and when did he know it, and I think there's going to be less pushback from the Republican Party because at least the McConnell wing, again, I only think it's 20 of the 50. They want to get rid of him, and so maybe there's an opening there that Democrats can push something through. We need a full accounting.
Let's play our favorite game before we go. What if Hillary had?
Oh God!
I mean, seriously, how many? Talk about like when you when you're out of office. How many years was she not Secretary of State when they had how many Benghazi hearings for how many?
Oh yeah, I mean there would be hearings for 3.5 years. There's absolutely no question about that. Absolutely no question.
By the way, I love when there's 1 degree of Stephanie Miller separation in your piece. You said I'm with Esquire's Charles Pierce. But he said the other state of being for which I no longer have time is mystification.
Yes.
As in, how can Republicans still essentially vote in favor of the mob that came after Congress with blood in its eyes? I mean, stop being mystified.
I know. We've watched this we've watched the Republican Party for decades, but the last 4 years it has become such a dangerous, radical entity. And there was a lot of press reaction the first couple of days of the impeachment trial. Oh, that's going to be hard for them to vote. No, history's going to judge them. They sleep fine. Let's end that charade right now.
Yeah.